I'm not going to speak for everyone else on this call, but I know when I was a kid, some of the best conversations I ever had were in barbershops. My mom would drop me off at the beginning of the day, get me up in the morning. I didn't want to get up on the Saturday morning. Drop me out there about 9 o'clock in the morning. And we talk about everything. It'd be like 2 to 6 barbers, depending on how busy it was. We talk about sports, about politics, gaming, whatever. And it was just a 6 to 8 hour conversation. I learned a whole lot, including some stuff I probably didn't need to hear at that age that I was. But so I wanted to get some of my friends together, and we're just going to have a free-flowing conversation about VR in general. It's going to be about, we're going to cover Quest 3, we're going to cover game stuff, hardware stuff, software stuff, PSVR 2. I'm going to go around the room. I'm just going to go in the order of who's on the screen and my screen right now. Just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background in the VR. Like stand up in front of the class and tell us about yourself.
Standard
issue. Yeah. All right, Sho, you start off.
What's up, everybody? Sho Futuristic, longtime VR enthusiast, and just happy to be part of the Black Ebony Crew Cast, whatever it is. The Black Avengers. There
man, we starting off.
Dang, he came in guns blazing. We were gonna wait for that. We were gonna wait.
Oh no! All right, JDun.
My bad.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No, it's staying in.
We make it
laugh. It's all staying in.
This is hilarious. So yeah, it's your boy JDun, man. Lover of XR, lover of VR. Excited to be with the crew, with the melanated virtual folks. And it's gonna be an incredible good time that we've been planning this for a while. So I'm looking forward to chopping it up with everybody and having a good talk, man. It's gonna be dope.
All right, Marty, who are you?
Yo, it's your Marty Dude VR. Been playing VR since about 2020. I'm just happy to be here, man. It's cool. Like, I've been following y'all for a while, so this is dope. It's good to get to chit chat with y'all and talk VR. So, shout out.
And joining the call, Clay.
I know, late. Call me Clay, creator in the VR space. Been doing it since 2020. Fell in love with the Oculus Quest 2, but had some experiences with old school Gear VR when you have to plug your phone in, so that's a throwback. And so excited to be hanging out with this crew today, the diaspora.
Right.
Oh man, this
Right.
is. Oh man.
How far does everybody go back? Like Gear VR, like how far? What's the oldest VR experience that we got?
See, that's funny. I'm with Clay, man. Yeah, I go back to that. In fact, I got the Gear VR back there, the first one. That's where I started my journey with VR. But I think it even goes back before that to VR Troopers on TV, man. That's that was one of those shows I watched, and I was like, VR Troopers.
Had a brother on it. Had a brother on it.
Did you?
It was ahead of its time.
Yes, that's right.
It was virtually melanated. So there you go.
Already. Yeah, it's funny. I remember having a Gear VR, but I think my first VR experience might have been with like a Rift S when someone was just like, "Oh, like come check out this cool VR thing," and it was like a one-time bit, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool." But I never really pulled the trigger for myself until the Quest 2. So that's when I just jumped right in.
Yeah. See, me and you have an almost exact story. So same thing with me.
I think we can all say the reason why we didn't jump in right away, because your boy didn't have $2 or $3 grand to drop on the index plus a $2,000 computer. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh! Don't get me started on that fight. I've had that argument for a lot of people. I've had that argument so much.
Marty, the PCVR guy, is going to
bro, my camera switched. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, what happened?
I just automatically switch.
I got you. Okay, I got you. But we're leaving all this in. I want every tech. I want every tech.
100%.
Every piece
nothing
of
on the cutting room
No,
floor.
this is
not right at
this
all.
needs to be.
So it says I can't switch it during recording.
There we go. All right, Marty, where did your VR where did your VR experience start with?
Mine started in 2017. So I was at a internship. It was a software developer internship. So that was like my first time doing like anything tech. And my mentor gave me this Oculus Go. And I was like, yeah, it's like looking cool toy, whatever. And I put it on. And after that, my life was changed because I was like, nah, this is cool as hell.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, I gotta get a VR headset. But I was in college, so I was a little broke. So I was like, okay.
I'm out of college.
Graduated.
Broke don't change for college.
Right. We graduated. We got the big boy job, and then after that, we balled out on toys. And so I bought the Quest 2, and then I got the Index a little bit later that same year. And then after that, it's just been history.
Wow, love that.
All right, Sho,
Yeah.
where'd you start in VR?
Honestly, Virtual Boy, Nintendo's Virtual Boy.
Completely forgot about virtual.
Yeah, but I
Let's
never
go.
got a chance to actually own one. But I worked in a gaming store at the time, so I got a chance to play with it. And then ever since then, I've been chasing VR. So yeah, I jumped in with everybody else. I started with a Gear when that became a consumer headset, and I skipped the whole PC lane because I'm a Mac guy. So whenever there was something that was consumer accessible and affordable, I would jump in on that level.
Okay.
And here we are with Quest
Wow.
3.
All right,
I
so
love it.
That's fire. Yeah.
I started out going to VR arcades and like those entertainment centers. So you put on the VR headset and do like a 5 minute, boxing thing or like a roller coaster experience. And I always thought the tech was dope. So then I started going to VR arcades where you pay $30 for 30 minutes. It sounds terrible when I say it like that, but anyway, then I was playing stuff like, the wonderful Solaris Off-World Combat. If anyone's ever played that terrible shooter, in Arizona Sunshine. Once I found Arizona Sunshine, I was hooked. That was it for me.
Really?
Yeah, that was the game for me. But that
Well,
was
you gotta
in
give it up.
20. That would have been 2020, I believe. So I started researching and said, "Oh wow, I need a computer that this is right at the start of COVID. GPU prices through the roof. That PC would have cost me $2,000. So okay, so I need a $2,000 PC. Oh, here's a Valve Index. That's $1,000. Okay, can't do that. Hey, what's this Rift
That's
S
not what
thing?
Marty
it's-
said.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, man.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, hey, here's the Rift S. Oh, that's discontinued now. Well, what's this other thing they're doing? What's a Quest? Oh, okay. So, then just kind of my research. And when I turned 40 in 2021, I randomly walked to a GameStop really to pick up some cheap Switch games. I was like, I'm going to buy myself a game for my birthday. And then the Quest 2 stand was over there. I started staring at it for a second, and the GameStop dude walked over to me. He's like, "This is the best thing you could possibly buy," and he sold me on it. Took it home, been in love with it ever since. So,
Wow.
I love
Shout
that
out that
story.
GameStop guy.
Yeah, I love that, man. So it sounds like we all kind of started like that kind of bite really happened around that 2020 era,
Yeah.
right around that pandemic era, and then switching over to Quest 2 kind of being the main thing. So that's gonna be very interesting when we get into Quest 3 and stuff like that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I think the pandemic, I mean, I think we all kind of know this too. The pandemic had launched the Quest 2 into its like
100%.
mass market stardom.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was crazy.
And it was been amazing to watch because we were all home and it was like, what else we gonna do?
Yeah.
We're not even going out to eat dinner. It's like, okay, well, and at the time it was what, $300.
Yep.
I played so much
Yeah, I mean, me
Poker
and my
Stars.
wife, we were doing
Sorry, go
we were
ahead.
doing virtual date nights, man. It was
love
that's
those.
how we started. So that's the crazy thing. We were doing
that's hard.
virtual dates before
I love it.
we actually was married. So it was crazy, man. Just crazy time.
It could be argued that that's a missed opportunity that Meta did not fully jump in on, because they had the whole industry in its grasp during COVID, right? And now, what's the metaverse now? What's
I
the
don't think
social
they knew what they
connection
had.
now? You know
I
what?
don't think they knew what they had. By the time they
Yeah.
knew what they had, then we started hearing about PSVR 2 and all this other stuff. I
Yeah.
think Marty's camera is just not liking him tonight. There we go. Okay.
He doesn't like me today, man.
This doesn't like him at all. It'll be a running joke.
Overworking that thing, all the
Yeah, for real.
videos and unboxings that you do.
Oh,
It's trying to
yeah.
take a vacation for you now.
Yeah. I'm going to hit one topic
Back in
real quick,
animation.
then we get into like the meat potato stuff. This one's real quick. What are you playing right now? I'm going to go reverse order. Marty, you first.
Oh man, I kind of went back to the PSVR 2 life for a little while. Went back for RE8. It's been fun. I actually been enjoying it. Playing that. Went back to play Doom. I saw the videos come out, so I was like, I gotta try this. And so I played it like a long time ago, but I wanted to see what it like on Quest 3. And I was like, oh, this is nice. I've been getting jump scared in that game for like a few days now, so that's pretty good.
Okay.
That's pretty much it right now, because I kind of been real busy. It's been a really busy like week, so I just been gunning.
It's been busy few weeks on
Absolutely.
the continent for sure. Clay, what you playing right now?
Yeah.
I am currently playing a few games actually, which is Mike always gets on my case because he's like, "How are you playing all these games at the same time?" But I'm trying to dabble. Okay, I gotta experience it all.
He has commitment issues, is what it is. He has major commitment issues. He's
Well,
been with the
I
same
finished all
woman
my
since high
games.
school, but he has
I have,
commitment issues.
I
when it
have
comes to
been with the
games.
same woman since almost high school.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I do finish the game. So right now
Yeah.
I'm playing through Wilson's Heart.
Yes.
Wilson's Heart, okay.
Which is like a 2017 Oculus Studios release, which was supposed to be the game after I played Propagation VR. By the way, I don't know if you can see thematically, I'm really into horror, so like I'm all about this. And then There's another game. I'll find it later, but there's another game that I'm playing around with. So I'm spending some time in PCVR land. So
You
Marty,
say
you'd be
duck
proud of me.
season.
Duck season was just
Yeah,
not.
man. I saw the trailer
it.
for that. I saw the trailer for that. I was
Duck
like,
season was-
no way. No way.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at it.
I wanted it to work. The issue with Duck Season wasn't even the gameplay. Like it was just
Yes, it
so
was.
you can tell it. Well, okay, well, not the gameplay mechanic, but it was just not optimized for current gen tech. So it was like straight out of 2017, and it felt like it. Whereas Wilson's Heart, also out of 2017, didn't feel like it. That's a whole other thing that we can go on a tangent. So I'm playing a bounce around between those, and then I'm playing another one on my Quest 3. My goodness, it's so late. What's the game I'm
Genotype.
playing, Mike? You know,
Genotype.
thank you, Genotype.
Genotype.
I'm doing a separate playthrough for that on YouTube. So I'm bouncing around between all of those at the moment.
You floozy. Show just to fill it in. Duck season
bad.
is a VR duck hunt. That's all it is.
No.
That's all it is?
It's
Laughing
a
dog and
horror
everything.
game,
It's
but the
not a
issue
horror
is
game.
it
It's not a
is.
horror
It is.
game.
It's just we didn't get to the horror part. in
Horrible.
stream
It's horrible.
because it was horrible. I already refunded
That's
it.
horrible,
On Steam, too. I'm
graphics.
gonna play it.
Damn.
I did. But it's fine.
terrible.
It's fine. Wilson's Heart is taking its place, and it's doing really well.
Yeah. JDun, what are you playing right now?
All right, man. So I am playing Ghostbusters. Kind of got into that. The multiplayer is really, really fun, actually. I really enjoy the multiplayer. Me and my wife, Joy, been playing that a whole bunch. So enjoying that game. Whole crap ton of mixed reality games. I mean, every time there's an update for mixed reality, I'm like, yeah, I'm running to the
That's
Quest
cool.
3 to check it out. And, you know, I guess we're going to all try to make Marty proud on this podcast. Getting on Asgard's Wrath, man, the first one, before the second one drops, because
good.
I've been watching
so
gameplay
good.
footage, and TwitchCon, MetaQuest had a few people get up and play the game, and man, that game looks incredible. So I was like, let me go back to the first one. Oh my God. Okay. PCVR is
It's dope.
it's king, man, when it comes to them graphics, bro. Like it's crazy what they packed into that game back in the day. So Asgard's Wrath is incredible. So got it for free because you got the Asgard's Wrath 2 stuff with Quest 3, so had to
I'm
jump
with
into
you.
Alright,
it.
so I got a question
PCVR
about
has
that.
like hooked me, but like it's still not accessible. It's so much money to get into it.
Oh, don't go down that rabbit hole yet. That's gonna be later. Show,
target
you had a question?
Yeah, I got a question about Asgard's Wrath, right? So again, PCVR, different world. But I'm assuming that between Asgard's Wrath and Assassin's Creed, that's supposed to fill in the hole that not Metal Gear, but GTA, San Andreas fills, right? So are these open world experiences, or like is Asgard's Wrath an open world game? I don't understand.
Look, we gonna stop it right here. So first of all, nothing
fills that hole.
fills the gap of GTA. Look at me on the screen. Nothing fills the gap of GTA. Okay, we need. I don't know what's going on. This is my public service announcement.
Okay.
Where is GTA, Mark? Where is it?
Here's
All
my.
right, you
here-
should
no,
never
here-
know. Okay.
Here's my theory of what happened with GTA. Hold on, let me huff my copium. Woosah. Okay, here's what happened with GTA. Mark
Yeah.
was on the call with that developer and said, okay, we're going to make GTA on Quest 2, right? Okay, everything's signed? Great. Pure walked right into that studio where they were recording that Meta Connect or that gaming showcase, whatever that was, and made that announcement right there. Had no concept of the fact that it takes years to build a game. They hadn't put pen to paper. They hadn't even opened Unity or Unreal. I think it's Unreal. I think that game's built in Unreal. They hadn't opened the studio yet and even named the project. And Mark was like, GTA SA is coming. GTA SA is coming. Had no idea that it was going to take 2 or 3 years to build that game. That's what I think happened. And that's why we haven't seen any gameplay or anything like that. Because I think they had to rebuild that thing from scratch. And we're not gonna, and it's going to take 2 or 3 years to even get it to a showable state. That's what I think happened there.
Yeah.
I agree with that because Assassin's Creed literally was announced like in 2019 or 2018 coming for Quest platform, and we're just now getting it now. So I mean, I can see
I
that.
think
So
he's
the
lying,
rumors
'cause-
that you're even hearing
What's that?
about it privately being scrapped, no one thinks that's true, right?
No, it's still coming. No,
I
it's still
don't
coming.
think
I don't
it's
wanna
being
believe it.
scrapped.
I'm
I
not
just
gonna
think
believe
we
it.
need to just let it go.
Now every showcase,
And it's just going to
anything.
magically
Stop talking
Somebody
about
like,
it. Don't
where's
wish it
GTA?
into existence. Just
Yeah.
give up on it and move on.
It'll be a pleasant surprise, sure.
Yeah, shadow drop it because we know Mike likes shadow drops. Shadow drop that bad boy.
All
And
right,
don't tell
all right.
nobody.
Clay, have a great night. It's been good to talk to you. We'll see you later. I thought I'd kick people out of this.
I love it.
Shadow drops, get out of here.
Now we all got
right,
the copium. man. We
it's
all trying to have it. We all trying to have it.
Yeah.
Not me. I have
Yeah.
given up on it. I'm not gonna even. I don't even care about it. Don't at me. I
Well,
do
might
not
as well
have,
talk about Deckers. We're gonna go to the copium place.
Yeah,
Right.
man. Valve had me in a chokehold for years now. Good.
Not a chokehold.
Not a
Show, what are you
chokehold,
playing
man.
right now?
Genotype and a lot of mixed reality, but not games. Mixed reality remote apps, productivity apps. I'm loving that. But Genotype, if I'm playing a game, it's probably Genotype.
Okay. I'm gonna let that be the first topic actually, just after I go over what I'm playing. I'm playing Demio Battles, and I'm not sure when this is gonna air. It most likely airs before that game comes out, but I do have a review copy of that, so I'm playing that. Journey to Foundation, showing you and I talked about that before we started recording. I love my story-based games. That's what I grew up playing because I didn't have friends. My brother had friends, so he had Madden and Double Dribble and everything running. You know, your boy didn't have friends, so I was playing Ninja Gaiden, Mega Man, all the story games. Legend of Zelda, fell in love with that game. Metroid. So I always seek out the story-based games. I always kind of flow towards those. And frankly, multiplayer VR gets enough attention as it is, especially if it's a shooter or it has zombies. So I tend to not touch that stuff in terms of content. I like playing it, but I don't really give it as much attention. So yeah, been streaming Journey, really enjoying that. Just finished event at Unity Farms, that studio. I'm gonna go ahead and plug that now because you know we all got tans on this show. That game is made by a studio headed by a person with a tan. It stars a family with a tan.
Yes.
Minority family, really nice story.
person
So,
of color. Person of color.
Wait, what's the name of the
Yes.
game?
Say less.
what's that?
What's the name of it?
The Events of
Farms,
Unity
yeah.
Farm. It is a dark fantasy time travel sci-fi game. And
Okay.
I'm not gonna say here plug it. I'll put some B-roll over this as I'm saying this, but yeah.
Yeah.
Just finished playing that. It's in early access right now. Got a ton of potential, and I want to support that studio because we need more games with people who look like us.
Yes.
in them, for sure.
100%.
Absolutely.
Nice.
You know what?
Absolutely.
I did get a key for that. I'm gonna start playing that like ASAP because I noticed that and I was like, we need more of this, and I need to be pushing that a lot more. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Excuse me. Show hit the top of that. I want to make sure that we expanded on talking about using Quest 3 outside of gaming because I thought after I went through the process and did my review and everything, I was like, this is the most versatile piece of hardware I have had that I've seen so far. Because it can do so many different things. It is not perfect at any one thing. It is not top of class at any one thing. But it can do multiple different purposes, which I think helps us appeal as much. And productivity is one of them. So, Sho, what have you been working on? What have you been doing?
Well, again, I do a lot of video editing, and I found that now the Quest resolution is good enough to do video editing or writing. Like one of my favorite things to do that I was always envious of PC users is I could go into big screen now, look at a movie or hang out there, and then open up another app in big screen and type in my own personal screen in there. PC users could do that forever, but I can never do that with my Quest. Now there's enough RAM where it can handle multiple apps with no problem. It's great. So yeah, I do a lot of big screen, or I'll just extend the monitor that I have now and have multiple screens up on a remote app. The remote up with workrooms. Both of those are great. So I'm loving that. Loving it.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that I've been doing now for a while. So like when I first got the Quest 2, one of the first apps I downloaded was Immersed. And then when Workrooms came out, being able to have remote meetings with people, and it was something that was baked into the software, kind of into the hardware, something that was first party, was something really big. And I began to work with schools and different things like that using that technology. My biggest gripe, and we gonna open it up. We going in tonight.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
my biggest gripe with it is from the day I got into Immersed in all of these applications. I'm like, man, the day I can take my Quest on a vacation or take it to the office or take it to the library, no laptop with me, nothing else, just a Quest. That freaking keyboard I bought that was marketed to work with the that does that little tracking. I bought that before it was even in the software. I bought it when they showed it off. They called it Infinite Office or something like that. I got all that. I want to be able to take it somewhere and remotely connect to my computer. And I had it for an instance before I could afford a PC to do PCVR. I had something called Shadow PC. Shadow PC is a remote cloud gaming PC that you can have in the cloud. And it was cool because I could load Immerse on it. I could load big screen remote desktop on it, anything, and basically connect to the device remotely from anywhere in the world. And I thought that was the coolest thing. So I'm playing Half-Life Alyx on a cloud PC through virtual desktop, and I could do it anywhere on a 5G connection. I thought that was cool. So I'm like, why still to this day I can't have a cloud PC in Immersed or in workrooms and things like that? And so that's my only gripe. I think I've had a Quest Pro, so because of the Quest Pro, I've already had that color pass through, that increase in color clarity and contrast. So I was kind of already used to working in the headset. I'm cool with that. I was cool with the Quest too. I just need it to be remote, and then you'll see me use it a whole lot more. That's my only thing when it comes down to productivity on a device. I need more apps to be coming to it. I don't know, Meta, if you're listening. I hope you are. We need an Android store on the Quest platform to just download and sideload apps easier. But I'm done with that. Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
I have a feeling you're not done, but it's okay.
Well, I am
Keep
getting
going.
things done. So I mean, you know, yeah.
That's hard.
JDun, I tried to do what you did. Like I tried to take the my Quest to like hotels or whatever when I was traveling to do work. And I think the solution, I don't think it's going to be a peer-to-peer solution, right? I don't think we're going to see shadow PC equivalents. I think I hope what Meta is going to start doing, and I think Google is going to follow up too. We're going to start to see more cloud-based full systems, like what you have with Google Drive or the Google Office. Microsoft 365 is probably going to be the solution that you're looking for. I think I hope Meta's going to invest in building up their own cloud infrastructure so we can start having more personalized spaces and more things that we can do. I know in video editing, there's a lot more cloud solutions now too. So I think that's the future we're going to see.
Or they can leverage that
called,
partnership they have with Microsoft. Like they've had a partnership there, and they're just doing Office, but they can do so much more gaming in and out of gaming with that partnership. But the whole suite,
they do have the
whole suite
cloud
on there.
365 thing they're marketing, but I don't want to spend another $40 a month just to get a cloud PC when I have
That's
a
true.
Mac here. And I just let me It's very simple. I use there's a software called Splashtop. It works great on my iPad. I can remote into my iPad, and it's like butterly smooth. I can play a game remotely. I mean, you can do that with Steam clients. So I'm like, just give me remote connection, mouse control, and I'm ready to go, baby. Let's go.
That's the problem.
Clay, you got a point you had to make?
Yeah, there's an app that I was playing around with called Fluid on the App Lab, where it's you don't need a PC or anything, but it is a lot of cloud-based things. So once you log in, you connect a wireless keyboard and mouse, and then your whole system is there, so you can actually access all your Google Drive documents and things like that. While it's not a full remote into a desktop, if most of your work is on the Google Cloud, then that's also something pretty sufficient without having a specific remote in PC. And you can have as many monitors. Well, I don't know how many monitors you can have, but you can get a few of those. I've also tried Immersed, especially with the Quest Pro. And I did do a lot of multi-screening remote work from the Quest Pro for a while before it came out. And then we ended up going back into the office anyway, so then I didn't need the multi-screens as much. But I did use it a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Marty, you have any experience with working in
Man,
VR?
I'm a lazy bum. I haven't used my Quest
He's
for
like video
anything
games.
productive. No, because usually like a lot of times I'm playing my Quest, I'm probably getting off work. I'm like, throw me into the world somewhere. So I haven't used it for productivity. But I think coming up, I do want to see if it has things that will help me with like getting my animation and stuff done. That'd be dope if I could find something like that. So I think that's my first like real kind of voyage into doing productivity stuff with the Quest.
Marty, what kind of animation do you do?
So my first animation was so I started off, I think when I started doing animation last year, I think. Last year, and I got my first kind of like full length animation out this year. So that was like, it was a FNAF animation. So Five Nights at Freddy's.
Man.
Oh, that's cool.
I just did like a horror one because I did a little voice acting and stuff like that for it. Camera work, lighting, all that stuff. And so my next one I'm gonna do is gonna be like also horror. It's gonna be backrooms and stuff like that. Because I always see it like on YouTube and stuff like that. And I was like, I like the series. I like horror. I like online horror stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna try to do it and try to get into it. And that one did really good. I got like almost 80,000 views. So that was like,
Nice.
so it did really well.
Yeah.
And so the streets
See
asking
those
for another one,
animations?
so I got to answer the streets.
So real quick, my experience on the productivity end of it, I'm actually in the process of recording a video where I just wear my Quest 3 for an entire day. It's not a full 24-hour period, but just my entire work day. So basically my day job, I'm community manager for a VR developer, 3 Pound Games. Shout out to them. And then like editing stuff right into my stream. So I'm going to wear it for like almost 18 straight hours.
Wow.
Swapping out battery packs and stuff because we're going to talk about the
Oh,
battery power
man.
issue on Quest 3 later.
Oh man,
Yeah.
You just woke up today and chose violence, huh? That's what this is.
Oh yes,
That's
we
what
are.
this is.
Oh yes, we are. I have 3 different sources that I can charge my Quest 3 with. But yeah, that's one of the things. I'm dabbling in that because I want to be able to. I'm making another one where I don't use controllers for the entire time too, for a hand tracking guide.
Okay.
hand tracking.
Because I want to be able to. I feel like using this to its full potential means I don't play a game every time I put it on. So I'm dabbling in
Yeah,
that.
facts.
I've used Immerse quite a bit, but I haven't really like gone full bore like some of the people have talked about on here. Yeah. Clay.
Hand tracking only. Wow.
What's up?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe. What are you saying?
No, I was saying hand tracking only. Man, that's bold.
Yeah.
I
It
have
is.
25 hand tracking apps on my Quest 2 on my Quest right now,
Okay.
and I'm
Do
going
you
through the
have a
process
high
of playing
tolerance
them
for
all.
pain as well? Somewhere installed
Right.
on that.
Hand tracking has
Honestly-
gotten better on Quest 3 though. Absolutely.
It has. It has.
I mean, look, one of them's Demio, one of them's Demio battles. I mean, this isn't. I mean, I'm not really putting myself out too far. But
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Clay, before we're gonna diverge from Quest 3 for a second. Clay, you talked about an article that came out about basically how Sony feels about PSVR 2. You want to summarize that, kind of give your thoughts, and we'll go around and just kind of give our thoughts on what they
Yeah,
said.
I didn't read it in full. Are you going to summarize? Because I'm fully committed to letting you know that I looked at the headline, but the headline was enough for me to know what was happening. By the way,
Right,
read the
right.
full articles, everyone. Don't just read headlines like me. Be better.
Lord
Right.
have mercy. Okay, hold on.
Especially since my wife works in the news, she'd hate that.
I'm saying this directly to her. She's absolutely going to get it directly to
fault.
this.
Let me see if I can read the actual headline, and then that way we can kind of use.
I
that
got
as a
to pull it up
discussion
here.
point.
I'll cover you. I got to pull it up here. Sony exec calls PSVR 2 important, but not its core proposition for 2023.
Yeah.
By Henry Stockdale, who I know, by the way. Shout out to the
Do
Rooftop
you?
VR podcast.
Yeah.
Henry hangs out there.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people
I got
would
the
be
quote.
upset
You
by
need it.
that, right?
You want the quote? You want the full quote?
Yeah. What's the full quote?
Hold on. Walter Cronkite voice. The VR category is important to us. It's a category that can help us with innovation. It's never going to be the only way people play games, but I'm happy that we're in it. There are great experiences to be had, and consumers really like it. But it's a nation business for us. It's something that we want to be a part of, but it's not the core proposition we have this season. PlayStation 5 is the core. Clay, your
PlayStation
thoughts.
5 will always continue to be the core. The PlayStation hardware and the PlayStation studios and the software will always be the core. The VR, the PSVR 2 will always be the peripheral. It's funny when I retweeted that, people were like, well, what's the point of actually just entering the space? And I said, it's simply because they just want to be there. If you know that there's a space that has extra money, why not just build a house there if you can to just reap the benefits? And I think that's what we're seeing, right? We're not seeing this hardcore push of first party stuff, which they did in the beginning because you needed to be able to entertain the idea of what this was. But they're in a space because there's a new market that people want to spend money. They want to be able to capitalize on that. Do I hope that they start to invest more? Because I'm a huge Sony fan. I'm a huge, I have a Sony logo over here. It's just, I just have it, I would love to see more first parties. I would love to see more high quality stuff. And one of the reasons that I got my PSVR 2 was because I did feel like I wanted more graphically from my VR experiences. And I didn't want to spend all the money on a PC to do that. Fast forward, I ended up doing that anyway.
Say what you later did. What you later did.
Which I later did anyway.
I sat through that 6-hour stream.
Right? Yeah.
This
you
man,
did.
I will cut this out. This man said, I'm going to build a PC on stream in 2 hours. Never built a
did.
PC before.
Lies.
Take one guess how well that went.
It did. It went well. It just took 6 hours. Yeah, I
You
went to
weren't
bed at 2
done.
a.m.
You couldn't boot it when you ended the stream.
I could boot it. I couldn't install Windows.
Big difference.
Oh
Huge
man,
Big difference. I was able to get a boot, but I couldn't get install Windows, so I spent the next day installing Windows.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Sorry,
that's
go
the
ahead.
PSVR experience for me, and I loved my PSVR 2. I know that this is something we'll probably end up touching on a little bit, which is, when you decide to buy a game, where do you buy it? So that's my current
Go there
dilemma.
now. Go there now.
But yeah, we could talk about that. So anyway,
this is a lazy river. Wherever you want to go,
lazy.
We'll
I love it.
We'll just flow with it.
I love it. So yeah, graphically, the PSVR 2 stunning, and it gave me exactly what I needed without having to spend $1,000 on an index, another $1,000 on a PC, and I fell in love with it right away. And Horizon Call of the Mountain is my game of the year for VR. Resident Evil 8, while really, really good, I enjoyed that too, but it's not like my... you can tell that it was a little bit of a port because it felt like a flat game that was ported into VR. Like there's some interactions that I wish Resident Evil 8 actually brought to life in VR that it didn't do. And so, yeah, but Sony's just here to capitalize on the fact that some people want VR. They produced a headset, and here it is. Now we get to play games that were produced by all the other studios that are trying to just make games for all these other platforms.
Yeah.
So that's my headline.
Stepping on that, it's one of those things where, you go back to PSVR, just the first one. I mean, they were pioneers. I mean, this is where, if you listen to the gamer tags and different people who started their channels around that time, this was like the thing that made them fall in love with VR in the first place. So, I mean, PlayStation knows what they're doing. The other flip side of this is there's been rumors, of course, about Nintendo getting into the fray with VR. And so when you think about, let's just be honest, when you think about competition, it's like, well, PlayStation's like, well, we don't really have no competition. There's no one who could touch us. If we was decide to give it all we wanted for, if they was to go all in, I mean, no one will be able to challenge them in gaming, right? So they're going to wait until other companies come into the fray, when others come in. I mean, Xbox, there was this tease last year with the CEO of Microsoft and Zuck talking about, maybe next time we get on stage, we'll have Flight Simulator and we'll be playing it together. And I thought, oh my God, they're going to bring in VR cloud game streaming or something like that with Xbox. No, he was talking about the flat screen version with cloud gaming, which I'm absolutely excited to do. Don't get it twisted. But I'm expecting, and I mean, Xbox still doesn't even look at VR as something they're trying to get into. But I can guarantee a Nintendo entering that arena, with Apple coming in now with what they're going to be doing with the Vision Pro and gaming as well. Like this, it's going to get very heavy. And I think PlayStation will then begin to churn out those types of games. I think I take it as a Quest 2, Quest 3 kind of started a fire. And I think 2024, we're going to start seeing some competition come in those gaming arenas a lot more often.
I think, I think the Quest 2 and the Quest 3 created a market of like places to sow the seed, right? And now other businesses are thinking, can I play in this space? Can I hang out here? And I think Sony, I mean, this is my like conspiracy theorist self is, let's push out a headset that can just exist. And then we'll reap the benefits of all of these developers, publishers who want to push out their games because they need more than the Quest platform to continue to thrive.
There's Pico.
And then we'll see what happens. That's how I think.
Yeah, that's good.
Marty, you also on the PSVR 2, so your thoughts on that quote when you read it, and your overall thoughts of PSVR 2 versus Quest right now.
I ain't gonna lie, when I read the headline, I was like, duh. I mean, you can
he was
see,
like, water's clear. What else do you want?
Yeah. People were surprised. I'm like, no, like if you look at this past 8 months with the PSVR 2's been out, they're radio silent on the whole the ecosystem. Like, there hasn't been like a UI updates. There hasn't been like themes. There hasn't been like a whole bunch of like stuff that Meta would do. We got to compare the two because they're two titans in the space, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like if you compare Meta support for the Quest headsets versus PlayStation's, is like night and day. And so it's obvious that PlayStation is supporting their more on the PS5 side because they're getting like a lot of like first party games this year, like Final Fantasy, Spider-Man just came out. You can see where their pushes are for their space.
That's where the money is.
But it's like some people thought of it as a thing as like, okay, I don't need to buy a PSVR 2. And I mean, it's a good option. Like I always say, like for people who I recommend PSVR 2, too, if you want cheaper PCVR, that's the cheapest you're really about gonna get. Yeah. So, it's still a good option, but it's like if you're expecting like meta level support for your headset, you ain't gonna get it from Sony right now. Maybe next year, maybe in a few years, but right now, no. Yeah, so
Sho, you look like you got something on your mind. You had
He's
to
been
bring up
looking
the
pensive
conspiracy
all
here.
thing. I'm just waiting for him to drop whatever wisdom he's got stored up
For
there.
real.
Nah,
He
nah.
saving the knowledge bomb here.
I've been rocking. I mean, look, I don't have a PSVR 2. I would love one day, right? I had a PSVR 1. I just feel like Clay said, Sony it's just a supplement to the PlayStation 5, right? The thing that concerned me with that quote was it sounded like this is going to be an even less of a priority than people thought it might be going forward in 2024, right? That's all it was. People forget that Sony can pull the trigger at any point with the PSVR 2 because it's a supplement to the core system. And they padded the technology enough where it's good enough to last for the next few years. So they can drop big games on it. So it's not a problem. It's unfortunate if you're an early adopter. But I think the later the lifespan of the PS5 continues, you're going to start to see some dope stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's weird. I think that they've produced the bare minimum of a high-tech headset to be able to exist in the market for a few years and have it age well enough. That's what I think actually happened. But again, this is all retrospect because we're all in the hype of like PlayStation is back in the game. Meta Quest 2 was dominating. The Quest Pro had just flopped, and now the PlayStation is gonna come and save VR single-handedly. And now it's gonna all of these PC games are going to fly off the shelves because people are going to get this bite of how great graphical quality I can get.
That's a
And
really
then
good thing.
yeah,
you
so
said
that's
there.
that's what happens. Sorry, I'm like, let me
Tag.
step down.
And they go download Gorilla Tag.
Gorilla Tag. I can't let it.
I have
Don't
not
sleep-
played Gorilla
don't
Tag.
sleep
I feel
on
like I
Gorilla
refuse.
Tag.
I
Please stream it.
refuse.
Please stream it. Please stream it. You didn't stream it. No, so I'm gonna say one point. I want to reiterate one point that you said because I found this fascinating. That the PCVR crowd, maybe this is because they've just been starved for new content for so long, but they were like, PSVR 2 is going to bring more PCVR games because people can develop for Sony's platform, and then they're going to be PCVR offshoot.
Half-Life Alex coming
Nah,
to
no,
the
we're only-
PSVR 2, man. It's coming. All right.
Oh Lord,
I
whatever.
never thought. I don't know why people said that to this day.
It's
I'm
coming,
like,
Y'all
baby.
know
It's
Sony and
coming.
Valve's relationship? Do y'all know Sony and Valve's relationship? Are y'all familiar with the fact that there is no relationship? There's a Titanic-sized iceberg between those two companies. That's not
it's
happening.
It's not happening.
They're like, well, Sony and Meta have it. Sony and Meta don't hit each other. Like, there's no hatred there. No, that's not a
Man,
thing.
it's a shame Alex is just gonna die off, huh?
It's not gonna. Alice is not gonna die off. That game is gonna live in infamy. That game has a legacy that, on some level, sometimes taints what happens with other games because they get unfairly compared to that game or held to that. Like Alex becomes the floor of what you expect, as opposed to the Mount Rushmore, which is what it is. That is a Mount Rushmore VR game. That should be held up with one of, I'd say, the top 4 or 5 best VR games ever created. So holding every game to that standard is an unfair thing. Given that game had roughly like a $15 million, I think they're calling that, Val said, $15 million budget. No 10 VR other games had $15 million.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Asgard's Wrath, I think trumps that. I think the newer one, it's going to trump that as far as how much money they spend.
But look who's behind that. Meta's behind that. Meta's behind that though. So if you take that versus, I'll just use Genotype as an example. Bulwark Games did not have $15 million to make that game. That's still a very, very good game. There's a good
game.
It is a very good game. But holding it to, well, it's not quite Alex's. Nothing's going to be Alex, and that drives me insane. But anyway, the original point I was trying to make was that I thought it was interesting that the PCVR crowd was saying we're going to get more PCVR games because PSVR 2 exists. To date, that hasn't happened yet. Maybe it happens in the future, and I talked to one of my coworkers about this because he said it's not like, oh, the graphics are the same, so you just move it here. Like, no, those are two completely different software development kits. Marty, you could talk more to this. You're talking about two completely different development kits. So that's two completely different sets of optimization, two like rounds of beta tests and all that stuff that you have to do. It's not just apples to apples there.
Yeah. Most people think you can just take like a PC game and just throw it over to a console and it works just like perfect. Like, no, that's like you got to rebuild it from like the ground up. It's not easy whatsoever. But I honestly like, because even when I got caught up in the hype when the PSVR came out, so I was like.
By the way, so did I. I'm not saying that like
PC games?
I saw it coming. I got up in the hype too. I was like, let's do this. You know.
Yeah.
But that's the dangerous thing about being like in like so tied so close to community. Sometimes it's hard to take a step back and be like, okay, realistically, what's gonna happen? Because I was like, man, if PSVR takes off, people might kind of get pushed towards PCVR through the pipeline, because it has happened. Like, I've had people who I talked to, they've got PSVR 2s and then went and got like actual PCVR headsets.
Really?
Yeah, some people have. So I was surprised too.
Yeah.
Usually, that's a lot of money to put in with the But
Marty, let me ask you something. So you do software, you understand the software, because I don't understand the software pipelines, right? But,
yeah, I'm a software engineer.
Okay, so does it make more sense to follow the engine? So for example, right, if games are made flat or in VR using Unreal Engine 5, is it easier to port a game on a hardware that supports Unreal Engine 5? Is that more plug and play? I understand there's some work, but is that still more of a plug and play process?
From what I understand of game dev, it'd be easy. It'd be easy if it's on the same engine. But it's like, it's still like a lot of limitations. Like if you're going from, it'd probably be easy to go from
easier, like relatively
easier. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
The reason I'm asking is, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What I'm trying to think of is like, it'd be easy to go to PC to PS5 or PS5 to PC. I think going from PC to PS5 would be a little bit easier, because you're only working with one configuration versus going from PS5 to PC, and you got all these different graphics cards, CPUs, and stuff like that. So now that I really think about it, it's not really realistic.
To go from that way to the other one. Yeah.
And so to that point, what I was going to add is, so if I think about the three major platforms to develop for, we have Quest, PC, PlayStation. Who do I pick? And as a marketer, I'm chasing the money, right? I got to chase the money. So where's my biggest opportunity? And it usually sits with the Quest platform, just because the user base is massive, right?
Absolutely.
The market already is small, but the user base of the Quest platform is massive. And this is where a lot of the animosity between like the Quest and the PC and the PS, everyone just kind of fights about it, is where they spend time. And it's unfortunate, but like, if people need to make a living out of this, they need to chase where the dollars are. And the dollars currently are with the Quest platform. That's just it, And so because of that, we have to spend time developing for that platform, which will inherently look different, because you're trying to build off of a mobile chipset versus, some AMD Intel processing capability that, that portability doesn't allow.
So don't get
for.
mad when your PlayStation VR 2 game looks like a Quest 2 game, because, I mean,
right?
I'm happy because I'm over here in standalone land. Like, hey, I'm good. My game is look good to me.
I've seen all those videos Marty makes. He just roasting. What are you doing? Just roasting them openly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I probably did burn a lot of bridges doing that, but it's how I feel though. It's like, if I'm paying like this much for like this experience, I don't. And even though I love my standalone games now, because like I've been playing a lot more standalone games now that the Quest 3's come out, because it looks amazing. Not gonna lie, it looks really good,
stunning.
And so I've been doing a lot more. But it's like, if I got a PS5, which is about the equivalent of like a 20 series, maybe like a low 30 series. Man, I want like some graphics,
Right.
I just don't understand the PC trap, because at the end of the day, you can see the chipsets on all the hardware. They're starting to make mobile chipsets. I think Apple's clearly doing their mobile chipset thing. Didn't NVIDIA just announce last week? Wasn't NVIDIA that they're putting out a new chipset that's on par? So we see where the wind's blowing, right? I mean, I figure if you're going to be in PC world and you're going to spend all that money on a 4080 or whatever the chips, I mean, these cards cost as much as consoles, even more, right?
They do.
Just you're going to have a very limited amount of games, right? You're going to get your flight simulators. You're going to be playing a lot of flat to VR games, because there's no one has the resources to put just toward these high-end PC games, and you can't port it anywhere. So I know. I feel you, but I couldn't do it.
Managing expectations. Like, I think we're all smart enough here to understand that it takes time to do this stuff. Marty, especially, working in software, understands, hey, man, I can't flip something in a couple of months. Like, this takes some time. So for PSVR 2, and I've talked to multiple devs about this, PSVR 2 developers got their software development kits anywhere from 6 to 8 months for, like, the bigger companies. And then less than 6 months for like the smaller devs who had to request them before PSVR 2 came out. We all know you can't build a game that fast. Yeah. Every single one of us knows that. So a lot of the ones who got them in shorter time were the ones who were doing upgrades from the PSVR 1s. Like, let's take Polyarc Games, for instance. I'm not confirming that they got theirs in the 6-month period. I'm just saying, I'm using them as
Yeah.
an example. To upscale Moss 1 and Moss 2, that takes less time than to rebuild that game entirely from scratch, because you already have the game built. One is some of these architectures, so it's already past quality assurance. That's one big hurdle that you don't have to deal with. You already passed QA, so it's a quicker QA process. But long story short, if it takes 2 to 3 years to build something truly, truly high end, like I'll use Alice as an example again, Mount Rushmore. That game took 4 years for them to make, start to finish. Quest 3 dev kits did not go out until roughly the spring of this year, because that's when they first got production models out there that were actually going to be, okay, these are the specs we're going with. Okay, devs, y'all can have these, start building. And you look at the number of games that have come out that were not Quest 3 optimized. The game that came out the week Quest 3 launch was Genotype. I did a review the day that game came out. The minute it came out, my review was up. The first 15 comments are the Quest 3 enhancements. And every game that's come out since then, that's been the question. Yeah. And so I'm talking about managing expectations in terms of, I think we're a good year away from seeing the top end of what Quest 3 can do and the top end of what PSVR 2 can do, because I think there's stuff that's being worked on right now that we don't know about that's going to blow our minds.
He just blew my mind. I didn't know that they didn't get them in 5 months.
That's hardware manufacturing. You got to put that thing together, and then you got to make probably 100 of these things, and even then the software is not entirely there yet, because they're still testing the software. And we can have a whole conversation about how wonderful the Meta OS is.
Listen. Well, this is, I want to just run with that, because one of the things that you don't realize, I think people look at the Quest 2. I mean, we all sound like we all kind of got the Quest 2s very early on in its journey. I mean, it's the most updated device I've ever owned, more than an iPhone, more than anything. So I want to say they started off like I think when I first got the Quest 2, it was like on OS version 18 or 19, and we were on 59 at this 59. Point. So, you think about that, and going back and watching, I've never seen Tim Cook, which I'm a huge Apple fan. I've listened to every CEO's keynote. I just was watching Apple before we got on here. I've never seen the John Carmacks and the Boz Tanks and the Zucks, who literally post so much about the inner workings of how the Quest platform works, right? And so I think about a year from now, I mean, heck, they showed off Quest 3 and said, here's this augment system we're going to have, and here's some features we're going to have with the Ray-Bans and things like that we're going to do. But they're not coming until next year. I don't even think the XR2 Gen 2 has fully even been tapped in. I mean, think about where we are 2 years into almost 3 years into the Quest 2, and they say, oh, we just found 20% extra GPU and 15%. I think this thing is super underclocked. And I don't even think Asgard's Wrath, I don't even think Assassin's Creed, none of these games are specifically going to really tap into that chip until sometime, like you said, sometime next year. And I think the Quest 3 is going to blow out mine in a year of what it's going to be capable of doing. But
I mean, think about like Asgard's Wrath 2 or the clips that we've seen in an Assassin's Creed, and then couple that with what Red Matter looks like. And think about what that could be in 2 years, right? Those guys are wizards. When you play Red Matter, you're like, what am I looking at?
Bro, that game is gorgeous.
And that's
the
point. So the thing that's making me excited, and this is because I know Mike works with a developer. Literally, that's his job. And we have a software engineer on here. You have to target the lowest, the most common device. So Quest 2 was the target for Asgard's Wrath 2. Quest 2 was the target for Assassin's Creed, and they're going to run great on those devices. It's just going to run better on Quest 3, right? But as time goes on, we're going to begin to see updates to the platform. Like, we're just starting to see Quest 1 games like BOGO and all these other ones, certain versions fall off because there's going to be things to replace them, So my thing is, we just got to give the platform time to breathe. And I think we're going to be heavily surprised. And the flip side of that, it's my last thing on it, is Project Avalanche is still in the background somewhere. Their cloud gaming architecture that they're working on. And there's been strings of codes in some of the data mining that's been done. And we don't know what that's going to bring. That's going to probably bring PC level gaming to Quest 2, because Quest 2 still has a shelf life. So you gotta think about Quest 2's not really going anywhere, at least for the next year and a half. So what are you gonna do when you have games that just cannot run on the Quest 2 hardware? Well, now you got that Project Avalanche that can come in and do those drops as well.
It's gonna give it a
Yeah,
second
give it a
life.
second life. All right,
Yeah.
Sho. Yo, Sho.
Well, as far as Project Avalanche, I think that's a big question mark, right? Because that's basically what Stadia was doing, and we just don't have the network speeds to pull it off yet. So I don't know what that is yet. I think that's still just strings of code. So I don't know what that's going to be, if it's going to be full cloud gaming or not. But to the other point I wanted to make is I think people are sleeping on the huge success of MR,
Oh, wow.
and not just for productivity,
Yeah, facts.
right? Like when you look at, I think people were taken aback by Demio or BAM when you can have this little miniaturized gaming world in your space, and people can either co-play in the same space or play remotely. Think of all the indie flat games like a Zelda or something from traditional gaming that could be put
love
into this
that.
new space. That's just a
Speaking
whole
my
new
language.
category that no one ever considered. So I think that's very exciting.
Absolutely. You turned me on right there, buddy. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I need some 2.5D type Sonic games and
Yes.
bring all those types
Yes.
of things. I mean, we've been seeing the mixed reality capture of with virtual desktop where you can kind of turn off the green screen and key off some colors and do that. I think that's cool, but I need it to be baked in, man. Give me some baked in some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then on the other bridge I was going to go down on the PSVR 2 side of it. Marty, I referenced this a second ago. Marty has made multiple very funny videos, and I'll make sure they're overlaid as I'm saying this, just roasting some of these releases that came out. Firewall Ultra, Crossfire Sierra Squad,
my God.
Hellsweeper, No Man's Sky before we got this foveated rendering update. And we're starting to see developers say, you know what, we're going to hold on this, we're going to push it out. And I think I want to say that that's in response to some of the backlash that's been happening over like the Hellsweeper release. I said this in the video, sorry, I didn't mean to hit my mic. I said this in the video. I don't think the decision to release Hellsweeper on PSVR 2 in the current state that it was in was a developer's choice. You have shareholders, you have owners, you have management who say, you know what, we got to get this thing out there. We'll go back and patch it later. Especially in this age of digital development, we're getting more games that are getting day one, week one patches right away, as opposed to we all grew up in the cartridge era where you got that joint, joint better work.
Exactly.
The only thing I had to do was blow on
finished.
it. The only thing I had to do was blow on it to get it to work, to get the dust out. That's it. Everything else better work.
Right.
So and this more, I guess, for Clay and for Marty, because you guys are PSVR 2 guys, specifically for you two, which one do you prefer? Do you want the delay or do you want the game? Because sometimes, like, I'll use No Man's Sky as a great example. When I got ported to PSVR 2, I watched multiple videos that were like, it's blurry, it's the PSVR 1 version, this isn't good, don't play it, this is not the best version of it. Then they put dynamic foveated render and then with the eye tracking, and now it's the best version of that game. And now it's the best version of that game.
Same
But
thing happened with Switchback.
Yeah,
Switchback also
yeah.
released in a terrible state, right?
Switchback was bad, man. Jeez.
So and
But I played
here's
through that whole game.
and here's the dichotomy that happens there though. When Switchback came out, there were dozens of videos on it. Dozens. How many people circle back? How many content creators circle back? How many how many websites? Upload VR, Sixdoff, Road to VR. How many of them circled back and covered the update? You only get one chance to make a first impression. I personally prefer the delay. I want something fully baked, but I realize that I am from a generation where I'm used to getting stuff that is ready to go out of the box. I am also a console guy. I grew up playing consoles. I did not grow up playing PCs. I didn't grow up playing Oregon Trail with the 3 discs and you had to like put one in and then when the disc ran out, pop it out, put the next one in, go part 2. I didn't do that. My dad did.
I mean, we're
didn't do
also
that.
grown adults with lives, and we're okay with things being delayed because we can get back to it later.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, facts, yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting thing we're seeing in the industry right now where they're balancing needing to get something out there to get revenue driving. Because if this has been your only project for 3 years, delaying it another 8 months, that puts people out of work.
Absolutely.
And we might end up talking about layoffs later, I'm not sure yet.
True.
Versus put it out there now, take the backlash, and then fix it later and hope that those people will come back to it and help word of mouth spread, hey, the game's fixed now, and hopefully get your return that way. Like it's a weird thing that we're seeing in the industry now, and I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
a
gonna throw the
tricky,
Clay.
it's a tricky space to be in because if you think about all of the quote unquote botched releases in the last few years, even on the flat gaming side, like they will forever be the ones that were botched. Like Cyberpunk 2077 when it first launched was like, oof.
Infamous.
Right.
Yeah, that
CG
was
Product Red was like, just like just torched the place, right?
Part of that was that game's
Switchback's
budget,
another
though.
one.
You know
No
how much
Man's
that game
Sky.
cost to make? Part of that was that game's
I
budget,
don't
though.
know. What was it?
Cyberpunk's 2077's budget was $174 million.
This is I know half of that was Keanu Reeves.
Absolutely.
I'm sure,
Yeah,
but
Shout out Keanu, man. That's my boy.
I mean, it was all
Right,
fully
but,
voice
like,
acted. They
they
just
will-
got Idris Elba into it now. I mean, that's
Right. But
it's
the point
before
is,
marketing.
even though it's great now, like when you hear people talk about Cyberpunk, they're like, "Oh, it's an amazing game," but it will always be ingrained. To your point, Mike, as wow, that was a botched release,
No
and
Man's
how many
Sky.
people
No Man's
circle
Sky's another
back
one.
to it, right? No Man's Sky is the other one. It was like,
Twice.
man, it was twice.
Twice.
First on the flat version, and second on the VR version.
VR version and the PC VR version still barely works. Anyway.
You know, and so the question is, you're right. What's the balance? And I'm of the firm belief that I don't think there's ever a specific dev person who's doing the development work that says I want to release this unfinished. I don't think there's any single person that wants. I think it's more of a business, marketing, shareholder promises thing because we need to show results, and that's unfortunately one of the issues is that we create this situation where we are promising these releases, promising these return on investments. You can't keep up, and that's what leads to some of the unfortunate layoffs in the gaming industry that's been happening. So it's a really rough state. But to your point, like I'm okay waiting. Please delay Madison a whole other year. I want a really big product because I grew up on finished products, right? Like Spider-Man released a couple weeks ago and already had a day one patch. Like it's weird to me that the game has a day one patch before you even
That's wild.
turn on your console. Like what's that about? So I don't know.
That's crazy. Marty, again, as a PSVR 2 guy and a PCVR guy, so you've seen it from both ends for a while now.
Oh, the PCs get the worst. I have to
man.
say.
Oh, bro, last year? Oh man, yeah, but it's weird because I understand it even as like because I mentioned this in those reviews where I was going crazy. That I'm a dev, I get it. I understand if a customer wants something and they paying the money, you got to get it out when you got to get it out. But at the same time, it's like. There has to be some give there because if I'm spending like $30, it's like these games ain't cheap, man. These like $3 a pop, some on 40. So it's like I want something finished, so push it back. So I don't because me personally, there's so much content coming out day by day or week by week. I'm probably not gonna circle back and do another review of like a game like Switchback. Like No Man's Sky was special because that's like my baby. I love No Man's Sky, I'm a space dude. But it's like. For a lot of these VR games, they don't have the what's the word? I guess the only thing I think of is clout. Like for CD Projekt Red, they had The Witcher. They had previous work that holds their company up.
That's a good point.
Like these companies don't have that relationship with a lot of these new VR people, or even some of the older guys who have had VR headsets for a while, to the point where they can mess up that bad, and somebody will come back. And it's like, oh, I love this company. Let me go ahead and relook at the game. Because it's like Firewall, I played it the first time from the first day. I made that video. I went back a few weeks later and I played it. It was a lot better. But I haven't
laughed
touched
so
it in
hard
like
through
2
that
months.
video. I laughed so
Bro,
hard through that.
I was so
crying.
mad, bro.
I was
30.
crying.
Oh, they got me for $40. Oh, they got me for $40 on that. But it's like, it's just like, please delay it if you can. But if you can't, be transparent because
I agree.
there was one dev who was it? One of the devs came out before the game was like, hey, it's gonna be, like this. I forgot who it was. I want to give him credit, but I can't think off the top of my head. Like, be transparent. Like, hey, we couldn't finish. We got Shaft on the release. So.
Are we okay with devs? And the answer is yes, but I'll put the question out there: pushing games out even at the last minute. I mean, I know that Mike gets on my case because he's like, no one ever confirmed Madison to come out on Halloween. There was one trailer that said Halloween. We just assumed
Are we
it was
about to have
Halloween
a
this
shadow
year.
drop conversation? Are we really about to have a shadow drop? Okay.
But
never confirmed
the devs, no, they never officially confirmed Halloween. Exactly, right? Everyone got duped.
Yeah, I know.
But they
Not
came out
everyone.
today with a tweet that says we're
everyone.
going to push it. And Vertigo 2, the devs for Vertigo 2 also pushed it out till next year, right? And so, is there a acceptable timeline for when they should announce things should be pushed out? Do we even care?
I am fine as long as they're not pre-orders. It can be
that's
an
good.
hour. It can be an hour before. As long as you don't have money already invested in that, it's
Yeah.
okay to say, you know what, this is not ready. Because you don't make that decision unless you know the game is not in a playable state yet. And we have all played games on release day. Again, I've watched all of Marty's videos on games that definitely needed some more time in the oven. Even on Quest, like anyone played Gambit? Like I can name,
Oh my
we don't even
God.
talk about that.
like I can name.
Oh.
We don't talk about Gambit. We don't talk about Gambit. No, there's multiple games out there that just, you know, the flip side of it, of releasing something that is that bad, it is almost impossible to recover from that.
Yeah.
And whenever you hear games like No Man's Sky, like Cyberpunk, they're the exception rather than the rule. For every one of those games, there's 100 that released that were trash and never recovered from that.
True.
Yeah.
So
Can I
I'm
touch
always
in
on
on
the
that one?
side of the delay, even though as a gamer it pisses me off. I also realize, hey, I'm going to get something closer to a finished product. And Lord, and like Marty mentioned it, in the last 2 years, we've gotten some real crap on flat screen and in VR.
Yeah.
You want to play
We did.
Redfall?
Yeah.
You want to play Redfall? Redfall, anybody?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
want to play
again,
for
you chose
Sa-
violence today. That's
for
I hear you.
Spoken? Was it for Spoken or Forsaken? I can't even remember. The game was so
Forspoken.
bad I couldn't even thank you. I couldn't even
Forspoken.
remember. So bad I couldn't remember the name
my
of it. Yeah.
God.
Do we need to talk about these?
That one hurt.
Go ahead, Sho.
No, I was gonna say I'm agreeing with what you said earlier. I agree they can push the game out, it makes it better. But I like the word that you use is transparency. Right?
Yes.
I think that's the key
I agree.
that we all expect from developers. I don't like when developers, especially when you pre-order something, right? What I don't like is this trend of developers advertising one thing and then go radio silent and then advertise something else by the time we expect something to come out.
Yeah.
And the game I'm specifically talking about, and I hate to do it, Stride, right? Something like Stride.
wow.
which was supposed
Let's
to
get
be
the
one
Joyway.
thing.
Let's get the
Or
Joyway.
even better,
Ooh.
the one I'm really salty
Oh,
about.
I knew
the
it
one
was
I'm
gonna
really
come up.
salty
I
about
knew
is the
it was gonna
football
come
game.
up.
That's the
NFL
one I'm
Pro
really
Era
mad.
2? Is that where?
You come on.
So
What happened to NFL Pro Era 2?
no. You go ahead. You go ahead.
They were supposed to go ahead.
Go ahead, Sho. No, you on the soapbox, man. Get say on
Yeah,
there.
no, you started this. Don't
You
hand
got
it
the
off.
Clippers. You got the Clippers. in your hand.
I want to hear about this.
Especially with NFL Pro Era, right? So we waited for this game to do updates for like a year, right?
Yeah.
It was a solid start, no updates, nothing, right? And it was supposed to have multiplayer, constant updates. They didn't say a word, even during the MetaConnect conference. They didn't say really anything. Then they dropped Pro Era 2's coming with multiplayer. No updates from the previous game. $30 brand new.
The Madden.
What
route.
is that?
What?
It's the Madden model.
Yeah, and the same thing with Stride, right? Stride was supposed to have a single-player campaign mode, right? All of a sudden, radio silent. We don't hear anything. They advertise that it's coming as DLC for the game. At some point, they changed their development, and now it's going to be a standalone
Now, I
single-player
wanna
campaign
take
experience
that
coming out that you
in
have to
two
pay
directions because there's something there with that because Demio at one time also promised that Demio battles was going to be a part of
was about to say
that
that.
PvP art was going to be a part of Demio, but I understand them saying, wait a minute, we've been giving out all these packs for pushing out constant content. We need to make this something separate, and I think our audience would understand it, and in that case we do. And for them, right? The NFL Pro Era, I gotta get on.
You sure do?
You should have never mentioned it, but I'm happy you did. Was the promise? The only reason why I originally bought the game was for
drink
the
my
multiplayer.
tea.
I mean, I was super excited. They even said they had multiplayer in it. You get in it and you realize it's
right.
not actually multiplayer against other. Like you couldn't play. This is the original one. You could play multiplayer,
really?
but it was like just tossing the ball to one another and playing little mini games. It wasn't full on, but it was like, oh, we're coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
I don't wanna
And
play
then
catch.
when I saw the announcement for NFL Pro Era 2, I was excited. It's like, you know what? Cool. You couldn't get it done. You probably gonna have this a Quest 3 launch title. It's gonna look incredible on the Quest 3. It's gonna be incredible. All these multiplayer stuff is cool. And then it comes out.
That's
and
the last
then-
topic.
And then the graphics still look the same. And
Same
the
game.
multiplayer.
Same
You
game.
seem like
There's
you
no
have
wide
you get choked
receiver
up over
mode.
there,
So
Jay?
then they this is the
Seems
thing.
like-
They just came out. They just came
Y'all
out
can-
and
y'all
said,
can feel
"Oh
him
yeah, we
holding
have
back."
multiplayer, but there's no wide receiver mode yet. That's not this year." So now you like another promise of, oh, will we get that mode in this game, or will that be? This is what people, we appreciate that this is a licensed, one of the first licensed sports games on the platform. So off the bat, it's a great game. There's no shade on that. It's a great game. It's just we want a Madden in VR, and we still don't have that yet. And so I'm talking to you, Status Pro. We we're gonna hold you to your words. We need more. We need more.
You've been calling a lot of people out on this
really have. I
podcast.
love
You've
it.
just been pointing at the
we
camera
have
too.
more.
You guys.
We need more, because I want these games to work. I want the platform to grow. I don't want this to be a stigma against the Quest platform. I don't want it to be a stigma against VR as a whole. And so I'm tired of seeing these broken promises of games. It's like, if you could have just said we're going to charge $20 DLC for this, I would have been just fine with that. You're talking to, we're all content creators who at some point, whether we get codes or we don't get codes, we've had to buy these games a lot of times. And this is my money I'm spending on these games, and I want to be able to get something from it. So it saddens me when I buy a game, and I understand the costs and how much time it takes and how many employees is employed, but it's really tiresome when you buy a game that doesn't look like you were told it should have. So communicate.
I'm gonna jump back on. I can't remember who said it. I'm gonna apologize because it was just said 5 minutes ago. The difference between them and Resolution and Joyway is clout. Joyway, I'm gonna go into Joyway for a minute. Joyway has a really long history of working on 15 games at once and maybe putting out 2 of them. That game Dead Hook that came out early this year is a reskin version of a game called Outlier that they canceled. It is the exact same engine. They just reskinned it. They have.
I thought I saw that game before somewhere.
Yep. That is Outlier. That is Outlier.
This looks familiar.
You
That
just
is
told
Outlier.
this dude that that Santa Claus existed. You just wrecked his whole life, man.
No, because I was looking at this game. I'm like, bro, some game within the past I've seen this before.
That is
Oh my
Outlier.
God.
Yep.
That makes sense.
There was like 2 Upload VR showcases ago. They showed 2 games that were on App Lab, Red Flowers, and I can't remember the other one. Strive Face, like we talked about, was supposed to come out in the original game, and then we're not sure, and then they launched the beta of it, and the campaign was like 30 minutes long or something ridiculously short, and it pissed off their entire community. So they pulled it back out and said, or pulled it back out of the beta and said, okay, we're gonna go back to the drawing board, and then they announced Fates. So it's one thing to continually put out these promises of project after project after project, and then pull it back and say, oh, never mind, we're gonna do this thing now. Versus go with Resolution as an example. If they say, hey, we're going to put something out, this is the first time. Demio Battles is the first time, and I'm going to try really hard not to violate my NDA by finishing this sentence. Demio Battles is the first time that they have pulled back and said, okay, we were going to do this thing, but now we're going to do this thing. But up until then, Resolution has been very consistent with putting out their products and updating their products and porting them to, they're on every platform you can possibly name. XRLE, Pico, PSVR 2, they're everywhere.
And it's
everywhere.
Like I didn't even know I had a PC version of it until I checked my library, and I was like, "Oh, I have Demio here too."
Yeah,
happened to me too.
Exactly. They're going to be on Apple Vision Pro.
nice.
Like they're very, very consistent, and when they say they're going to do something, they're going to do something.
No, I was just going to give them some love for their incredible monetization structure. Like when you look at how Demio started, it started inexpensive, and they gave you a core game, and they kept iterating on it for free. But as they gave more content, they said, "We'll up the price a little bit." And the later you invested in the game, you got a bigger game, but they charged a little bit more, a little bit more. So by the end, it was more expensive, but it was such a feature-rich game, right? And so I totally understand, based on what you just said, why they decided to go with the standalone experience. But I wish more companies took that route for how they release games. And they were very transparent the entire time with how they communicated what you would get and how much the money would go up every time they released.
Communication is key.
So,
Walkabout's
just
another
give
good
me some
example of
shout-outs.
that.
Do we think though that the obviously part of it is cloud, but part of it is that Demio in and of itself is a very good game at its core, right? Like you have a good product, so not just the track record, but the product is just generally good. Whereas some games, we've all played them, you're like, this was not ready for Showtime, you know?
Yeah.
And if you are a dev and that's your first game, not only do you not have the clout, but like maybe you just don't fundamentally have a good product, right? Like there's a part of that that's an interesting like POV to think through.
Hold on, my camera don't die on me and everything. Hold on, y'all. Can we stop? I need to switch my look. It must have been on purpose. Can we stop the recording real quick? Let me just switch my camera.
All right, we got interrupted because JDun decided to turn his camera off right when I started saying something about him.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
But what I was saying was that some of us, we all got our Quest 3s on launch day, or some of us before. So now we're 20 days out. My feelings are well known, but I'm just going to very quickly give my feelings. I'm going to go around the table and kind of see where you guys are at with it. I think it's a great piece of hardware, severely lacking software. And some of that we touched on why that is earlier. A lot of these devs didn't get their Quest 3 production models, their software development kits, until like 6 months before it launched. You can't build a game that fast.
Yeah.
Especially if you're already building the game, you absolutely cannot build two versions of it for Quest 2 and for Quest 3 when you've been building for Quest 2 for a year or two. So that's not possible. Now, I was huffing the copium, and I was like, okay, well, Microsoft has this partnership with Meta, and we're going to get Gears of War. We're going to get one Microsoft property in VR. That was my thought process.
Halo.
Gears or Season.
That's wild.
One. I was like, y'all, and Meta owns 9 studios. I can name them all off the top of my head because I've researched this way too much. But one of them built Resident Evil 4 VR for Quest 2. That's Armature Studios. They have a history of building and porting big IPs down to mobile platforms. They did a bunch of PlayStation Vita games before they were doing VR games. So I was like, okay, they're going to capitalize on this Microsoft partnership. In addition to Game Pass, they're going to give us at least one property to VR. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be Sea of Thieves. It's going to be something. It's going to be a name that's going to pull the Xbox crowd. And then that was like they own all these other studios that we haven't seen anything from Twisted Pixel, or now we know Asgard's Wrath 2 is coming soon. No, Sensar is doing. Echo VR was canceled because they said they're working on another project. Ready Dawn said we got another project coming. Haven't heard anything about that. Twisted Pixel, who made Clay's Wilson Hart that he's playing right now, also made Defector and Path of the Warrior. We haven't heard anything from them.
Didn't they also do Defector?
Yes.
Yeah.
The last game was Path of the Warrior. That was 2020 or 2021. Haven't heard anything from all these studios. So in my mind, I was like, they about to unleash the Kraken. We about to get everything.
Absolutely.
And what'd you get for your pre-order for your Quest 3? A game you can't play for 2 months.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I will say monetization wise, I do think it's a little bit interesting. It's like, oh, this really great AAA quality game, and we're going to give it for free. I found that very interesting.
You can do that when you own the studio. You can do that when you own the studio. When you own the studio, you don't really need that game.
But in a profit-starved market, like,
but
VR
like Nintendo
in general is profit-starved.
Nintendo was bundling Mario games for years with their stuff. Like, when you own the studio,
Sonic.
you don't need that game to be... Sega was Sonic. You don't need the game to be profitable. You just need it to be good. You need it to be something that's going to pull people in.
And let's think about holiday season. The Quest 3 early adopters, that's not who they were worried about.
Nope.
They're thinking about
That's true.
when they open up that Quest 3 on Christmas Day and you're downloading the best game on the platform for that time. Also, by that time, you're going to have Power Wash Simulator. You're going to have
Roblox.
Assassin's Creed. You know, you're going to have a ton of Quest 3 enhancements mixed around Stranger Things, I believe, by that time as
Yeah,
well.
you will.
Yeah.
So when you start opening up that full thing, and then you can be 3 months into Quest updates as well. So Xbox Cloud Gaming is coming out in
That's
December
true.
as well. So you know, you start thinking like we are the early adopters, so we want to be like, I need more games, you know, right? And the flip side, that's what we are. All of us are going, I need more games. And Meta's like, yo, just wait until December, you know, when that's our main focus right now, right? And then when you cross over into the new year, you know, now you got retention. See, now they can use those numbers from Christmas for the retention numbers, saying, look at how long a 60-hour game, y'all. Let's take
That's
a
a
moment
long time.
for standalone VR. Okay, a 60-hour game. So 60-hour plus game. They keep saying 60 hours. It's 6 hours and 1 minute, by the way. So no, but
You know they're going to get on you in the comments wherever we post this about 60 hours, but how long's the battery life?
hey,
Oh,
look,
hey.
look. Hey, you got a battery saver option, and it's gonna make the graphics look horrible, but you got it in the V59.
Not horrible. It turns 120 hertz mode on. That's all it does.
Yes, but I mean, this
And
this
turns the
is the
brightness
thing.
down.
Like honestly, I think Quest 3, having it, getting it in the hand, blown away. Having the Quest Pro, having the Quest 2, doing PCVR, I was blown away at how good this device is, and I'm okay with it having battery because I realize this thing is not quite yet the system we want it to be today. It's gonna be that in a few months. It's gonna be that in a year. We'll come back on the show and on the melanated virtual boys. And
Right.
melanated virtual boys.
That might stick.
Melanated virtual boy.
Oh guys. Oh, and we're gonna talk about how incredible it is.
Yeah.
I'm like you, Mike. I thought for sure when they talked about the cloud gaming with Microsoft that we were going to get some IP from Microsoft that was going to run, which still could happen. Still could happen. I mean, Minecraft. I mean, it's easy. The new Lego game. That's very, very much is Minecraft-esque graphics.
Marty,
These are the type of things that I'm really, really excited to see come to the platform. But as far as like just getting that Quest 3 in hand, it's been magical, man. And then watching everyone use these devices outside, which I'm really afraid for them because, don't want them to burn their sensors, but excited to see how many people, how much this has become a regular thing. Like, it's people who are not into VR. I've been hearing so many testimonies of wives who have never got into VR or getting into VR because, this MR thing, the first encounters is like the perfect demo for kids. For anyone to get in and be like, yo, my mom was like, well, this is incredible. Like, what is going on? So little things like that, it's just, I feel like Meta nailed it. And the selling point is not for today. We the early adopters, we care, but it's really for Christmas season, for holiday season.
Yeah, I agree. We are power users. I think we have to remember that. A lot of our Twitter feeds are full of people complaining about battery lives and things like that. And I'm like, honestly, most people spend up to 2 hours in headset and then put it down for the day. It's only us here that are like 5-6 hours and just hanging out, meeting up with friends, phone calls, playing board games, going outside. We're the only ones doing that. So if we're thinking about mass market, it's 1 to 2 hours. So I'm not too mad about the battery life, but I got my Bobo strap on the way. So
hey, man, shout out. Hey,
how many batteries did you order with it?
Your Twitter post counting down the days.
That was funny.
It got us all through the fight. I just want to let you know because I was crying along with you, refreshing. There was one that I refreshed Amazon at least 200 times.
I had the Amazon page just loaded, and just every time I'd open my phone up, oh look, it's up. Let me refresh. So. I don't know if we need to pause for Marty to get back.
Marty, we need to pause together.
Wait to the end, man. I'm right back. God dang it.
That's it.
That's funny. Yeah, the Bobo thing was hilarious, and then they opened it up, and so I still track it. It came from China. It's currently in New Jersey.
I mean, people are saying that it's like an hour and a half per battery. I think that's fine for someone who's not a power user.
Really, per battery?
Yeah,
that's legit. I heard it was 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm hearing up to an hour and a half, but it really depends on what you're doing. That's the other thing. We never stopped recording, by the way, so I'll just cut all that stuff out that just happened. Except Marty's camera fumbling just because Clay was being very eloquent at that point. So I'm just gonna let that happen.
I'm glad that you all followed my tweets though about my countdown because I didn't know how long I'd want to commit.
Mine is supposed to be here November 1st, and I'm gonna cry when I get it in my hands. I cannot wait.
Oh man,
I have
I think I get mine this week. I think.
I have an Anna Pro battery strap, which, by the way, Clay, I was actually incorrect on that. When I tested it properly, it got an hour and a half, which was pretty good.
That's legit. And
I have a neck worn one that is nowhere near me right now. But you remember those old like Bluetooth, like neck worn ones? Yeah, very much. It's not that one, but it's like that.
Shout out JD. JD. He already that's how I'm on the store page. I gotta get it.
Yes.
Yeah. So mine came from Zyber. I'm testing that one now. That honestly is my favorite one, even though I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. Like if you're one of those room scale tumbling nut bars who plays shooters, don't buy that thing. But, yeah.
Okay.
But
I got the
okay. So
3 hours.
What's that?
I got the Elite strap, and it's looking like I've done it twice. I've gone through 2 movies now. It's about 3 hours, 3 hours and some change with the Elite strap.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
For your
That's
average
legit.
Quest user, though, that's fine.
Yeah.
Is it $130, which is what Meta was charging? Fine, and that's kind of in the eye of the beholder.
That's
right?
all up
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, that is,
me
that's all
personally,
up to you.
no. Because like
So-
when I'm PCVR, this thing dies like really fast. Like at one point, I didn't even think I had charge in it because I was just like running through it.
Are you running through a wire? Because me and Clay just figured
Sometimes I do
something
wire,
out.
sometimes I do virtual
Yeah.
desktop.
Me and
So
Clay just
Mike,
figured
Mike
this
has
out.
been on this journey with me because I've been trying to figure it out. I can only get up to 3 hours with wired PCVR, but if you have a USB-C port on your PC and you use your link cable, I think that's the way to go because Mike's
Yeah.
able to get close to 6 hours with a wired.
6+.
Wow.
6+.
Yeah.
That's
Again,
good.
who's doing 6 hours in VR? Mike is, but like here we are.
I mean, hey,
Shout out.
Because Mike's a crazy person who records entire game playthroughs before he does 6-minute reviews for no
Wow.
views. So,
I love it.
all right. So we talked about PSVR. We talked about PSVR 2. We talked about Quest 3. We talked about launches of both. We talked a little bit about the present. Now about the future. What are you excited about in the next 12 months? Sho, I'm gonna start with you.
I'm going to cheat because I got 2 answers, right?
Gotcha. Okay,
The first one, I'm excited about what Quest is going to do with their core software. I'm not talking about games coming. I expect that, right? But I want to see the quality of life improvements and the features that they start adding to Quest on version 70, right? I want to see what that looks like. I think that's going to be really exciting. And
Okay.
I believe Valve Deckard is coming. I do think it's going to be here in late 2024. I do believe it, and I think we're
Puff
going
your
to see.
copium. Go ahead, take your hit.
I'm-
Yeah, take your hit.
Why wouldn't it come though? What else is Valve doing? Right? Why wouldn't it come? They've insisted that they have not left the VR space. We saw what Steam Deck is, and we know that the Valve Deckard is going to build off the Steam Deck, working with it in some way. So I think it's coming.
I'm not spending $1,000 to play better looking versions of games I can already play right now. And PCVR development is slowly dying, so I'm gonna cut all that out.
Oh wow, there goes that.
Have my
Yeah,
money. Take my money now.
And the PC diehards, man, and I love it. I
man.
love it. Trust me, it's it's the graphics are gorgeous, but man,
Yeah, like to me, it's
Take my money.
it's back to the Quest 3 thing. It's like it's gonna be fantastic hardware. It's gonna be top tier, top class hardware. I'm worried about the software, and I hope Valve launches it. I hope they do what they did with Alex. I hope they launch it with a top tier game.
yeah,
That will get me interested.
So wait, just hold on a second. Let's talk about my man. What's his name from? What's his name? Elijah, the guy who made a Medieval, and now he's diehard Quest guy. Dropped for whatever legal dispute is going on with them now. The reason I'm saying Deckard is a real thing and it's going to be a real option because everyone's not going to want to ride with Meta.
Agreed.
Meta is a behemoth, right? And there is a
Agreed.
space for independent PC games that don't have to be big budget. That's on a platform that people can make on an indie level or on a big budget level and put it out on hardware that they know, which is Steam.
Yeah.
They trust Valve, and I expect that to happen.
Yeah, because
So I
Pico
think
really
it's gonna
filled
be a
that
real-
void. Pico and HTC didn't really
Pico!
fill that void.
I'm not sure about Pico. Pico was never going to be a threat. That's an overseas company with a whole bunch of different standards. Valve is not that.
yeah. Wasn't Pico going out of business? Just
I
kidding.
mean,
Oh, no,
wait,
no.
they got
let's
it.
hey,
not
you
go
talk
there.
you talk about some clickbait. That's clickbait.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
good.
Man.
Got me right in there. I was like,
Yeah.
dang.
All right, JDun, next 12 months, what are you excited about?
Definitely, I'm with Sho, man. The core system of Quest. I mean, I'm a Quest lover. Standalone is my love affair. And Joy's cool with that. She's good with me loving on the standalone VRs. And finally having real competition. Maybe not Deckard for me, but I need Meta to have pressure. I need there to be pressure because when you see pressure, we had Android and iOS kind of battles. Things kind of collide. It's like, oh, because iOS does this, Android 12 is going to have this. iOS this has this. Boom. So I want to see when Apple comes into the fray. I want to see some more maturity in the space and see more productivity applications, other types of apps that weren't specifically something that was originally thought of for Quest platform. But even outside of the Quest platform, I'm excited just to see where the space is going to go augmented with augmented reality and mixed reality as a whole. I don't think we've seen a full-scale mixed reality experience yet. I think we're going to see something. I think we're going to see one of the first one of those next year. And I don't have any insider knowledge, but that's my desire and bet is that we're going to get some full-fledged, super crazy game that's going to be full on mixed reality. I'm hoping for a Pokemon-esque type game from Niantic. Please, if you're listening, I'm going to point to you. This is my
More
third
pointing.
time pointing at the camera. This is the camera. I'm pointing at my other camera, pointing at the camera. I need you guys to bring Pokemon Go in a full-fledged way to the Quest platform or to any standalone platform so that we can play some Pokemon Stadium-esque type game in mixed reality. I think that's going to change everything. And we need and I think we're going to see a VR sport birth over the next 12 months as well.
NFL Pro
Bring
Era
back Echo.
Yeah.
NFL Pro Era 3.
You're gonna say that. I was gonna say bring back Echo.
Oh
Bring
my
back Echo
god!
VR.
All right. Clay.
I'm done with Mike.
Clay, next 12 months, what are you excited about?
I would have to say, even though I haven't personally adopted this every day, I am really excited about mixed reality, augmented reality. I will not be buying an Apple Vision Pro. However, I'm excited for what it will bring and the pressure it will bring and the experiences that we can bring to life.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to the beyond gaming experiences because in order to grow the VR market, we need to go beyond gaming. We need to expand beyond gaming. I think trainings, education, those will be the next big things to show up in the mixed reality space. So I'm excited to get more people in the space through non-gaming means so that people can see that there's value in having this tech.
Absolutely.
And then for me personally, I'm excited to dig into some of the old catalog. Now that I have this PC, I'm excited to like go back to like the old 2018, 2017 games just to see if they still hold up.
All right.
Good.
Marty, next 12 months, what are you excited about?
Right.
Besides Decker.
I got. That's the first thing I'm gonna talk about.
Yeah, go
already know.
ahead.
Like, I gotta agree with Sho, but I hope we see it because the timeline makes sense to me within like the next like year or two, maybe within the next year. Hopefully, I just really like Valve products. I mean, I got the Steam Deck, I got Index. I like what Valve does in terms of like innovating their next piece of like hardware or Android software. So, I'm gonna ride with them. They keep me waiting a long time, but I'm gonna ride with them. But other than that, I'm really interested in the MR stuff. The Quest 3 kind of really sold me on it. It's not something I've been using like every day, but I do see like the use of it, right? And so hopefully within like the next year, we really get like, those kind of like, I guess the only way I can put this is like console seller, like mixed reality, experiences that we really want. That's my main thing for me. Kind of just seeing how the space changes because like there's a lot of stuff on the horizon right now, and so. I think we're gonna get like some crazy announcements in like next 12 months, and hopefully a lot of it works out because competition is like the best thing. To
GTA
me.
San Andreas.
Oh my god!
I just had to do it. I had to do it.
You still
Let me
mind.
see it. Cool.
The
man.
competition is there though. Like if Apple comes out and what we believe will happen is Apple validates the space, right? They validate the effort that everyone's been putting in.
Yeah.
Then maybe Google becomes a new re-entry, right? Samsung becomes a new re-entry, even though they've been in this space before, but now they're like to come back. HP comes back. I'm making it up, but like in theory, those players might be able to capitalize it. And then hopefully that gets the fire that Sony needs to, hey, we already have a headset in the market. Maybe we start to invest in our, first party IPs.
Oh, Sony. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So, man, I can keep going. I can keep going all day talking about this stuff.
All right, so for me, I think it's been kind of touched on, but just the software, I think the hardware right now is growing faster than the software is, and I think that's a problem. I think that's a major problem. In the last year, starting from the VAR era up until now, and going into Big Sur Beyond, which is now shipping, I counted 12 headsets that have been released.
Wow.
And that's a lot. That
is a lot.
And a lot of them aren't doing well for one reason or another. But the core reason why a lot of these aren't holding up, what's been the biggest complaint about PSVR 2? Software, games. After the battery problem on Quest 3, what's been the issue? Is this game have a Quest 3 enhancement? This game have a Quest 3 enhancement? This game have a Quest 3 enhancement? What was the death knell for Pico? Well, there were two. One, you're not in North America. Two, you don't have any exclusives. HTC basically just marketed themselves as a PCVR headset, even though they have a standalone store. They haven't done anything with it except ports from other places.
HTC.
I think and so taking it out of gaming, I think one of the things that Meta is going to learn from Apple, and I think they've already learned this, but going off of what we saw at Meta Connect, was okay, we need to have the software to match the hardware. Quest Pro's biggest problem wasn't the hardware. The hardware was fine. It was the software. You gave us workrooms and that's it.
Yeah.
And you call this a productivity headset. Oh, okay, you gave me a stylus in the bottom of one of my controllers. Great. Where am I going to use that? I think the software needs more maturity. I think we needed to see a lot more from that Microsoft partnership that was announced 2 years ago. We're just now getting to Office integration. Like, that needed to happen when Quest Pro launched. And I get that there are a multitude of reasons why that didn't happen. I totally understand that. Developing for that probably took a really long time. I understand that. But over the course of next year, I really want to see the software on the gaming side and the non-gaming side grow to a point where there are more uses for this hardware, not just Quest, but like all hardware outside of gaming. Because the way that we push this into the finger quote mainstream is you're not going to get 100 million people to put on a VR headset for gaming. That's not going to happen. No. You can get 100 million people to put on a VR headset, period. But not all of them are going to use it for gaming. Some people are going to use it for entertainment. Some people are going to use it for workout. But like the exercise industry in VR is bigger than I think anyone realizes. And mixed reality is going to change that a lot because it's really hard to work out when you can't see. Make sure you're not going to kick your cat. But now
I slept on the fitness apps. I really did. I slept on those.
Now you can. Shout out to VR Workout that has a mixed reality mode where you can see everything all at once.
Sponsored.
Shout out.
Company man. I should be wearing a 3-pound shirt right now. I should be wearing a 3-pound shirt right now. But no, I am excited for where the software goes because I think the hardware is there. Like, can it be better? Yes. I would love color pass-through on a camera that's stronger than the iPhone 3GS. I would love something that would be nice. We're going to get that with Apple Vision Pro next year. I think the hardware is good enough at this point to do what we need it to do. The software is not there yet. And I'm really excited to see, hopefully Meta doubles down on we need to build the software out and not just give me celebrity avatars for AI bots. Like, no, give me like real, true, deep software. And Sony needs to do the same too, because I watched Marty's video and I didn't even realize there was no PlayStation VR 2 menu.
No,
until I watched Marty's video.
It's and it was literally the flat menu in headset.
I was like, what? I was like, what?
Bro, it is. Like, it's the same menu, and it's not even like curved or anything. It's literally just flat.
Flat, man. I'm like, dog.
That completely threw me. I was like, what are we doing there? So I'm excited to see the software catch up to the hardware, and then the hardware outpace it again. Because usually it's the other way around. Usually the software is so good that the hardware can't run it, and you can't keep up. And then here comes the 4090, and all of a sudden the hardware's caught up. It seems like it's the other way around in VR, where like we got this amazing hardware that can do all these things, but all we're talking about is potential right now. We're talking about potential of what's going to happen in a year from now. What's that?
Our hardware cycle is too fast, I think. The Quest 1 came out in 2019, then the Quest 2 came out in 2020. That was only a year later. Now the Quest 3 is 3 years after that. I mean... the PlayStation 4 had a 7-year lifespan. The PlayStation 3 had a similar lifespan before that. Why are we pushing out headsets every 2 to 3 years? 1 to 3 years.
And that's just one company. If you look at all the other companies, you're getting a new headset every 6 weeks at this point.
Yeah.
That's Pimax.
Yeah. I think we're gonna get to a point where Quest headsets and standalone headsets will be updated every year. Just being honest, I think we will. I mean, those things are going to get subsidized. But I mean, it's. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. Right now. I'm thinking about more so when it comes down to like what Snapdragon and Qualcomm is doing with their chipset. They just announced the XR2 Gen 2, but then at the Snapdragon Summit, it was like, oh yeah, next year we're going to have. All new XR, chips coming out. It's like, well, man, okay. So now you're thinking about, is Quest Pro coming? Like, is there something else that's going to take advantage of those things? And I mean, that's the part of being an early adopter, man. That's what I love about it. And you talked about, I'm not getting the Apple Vision. I got it. I'm getting that thing. I got to have it.
No, I want one. My wife ain't gonna be happy.
No. But we got 2 of them things. So we've already been like, making plans every dollar. Oh yeah, me and everything me and Joy do, we do it together. So like we already made a decision when before the thing was announced, however much it costs, we're gonna make it happen. Now, if I'm not able to, if I don't have a
this
kidney,
is it. That's
if I don't have a
why they're
kidney or
doing those
liver
VR
after this,
dates.
y'all don't know how I feel about y'all, man. But
That's where the VR dates are. They're cheap. The ramen ain't real. You know.
The ramen ain't real.
We gonna have that Vision Pro. But no, seriously, like I'm so excited because
I get it.
I believe
I get what you're saying.
we're still we're so early, y'all. We are so early. We are so early, and so this technology in 10 years is going to be the mainstream. 5 years, but it's going to be more mainstream than what it is today. But we're just early, so you're going to pay the cost to be in the early game. But also the benefit of that is that we're going to be the cool kids very soon as this stuff begins to age and get in. So,
Nah.
oh man,
I've
you
never
all
been a
cool kids.
Nope.
I've never been the cool kid in my
You're
entire
all the
life.
cool
It's not
kids.
gonna
Give me the
happen
courage to talk to my wife.
You're all cool.
now. Never gonna happen now. I appreciate it. All right, let's wrap it up. Marty, where can we find you? Plug yourself.
Find me on
Plug
YouTube.
where you doing all your work. What you're working on right now. Where can we find your stuff?
YouTube, Marty Dude VR, Marty Dude Animations. I got something coming within the next month. Starting to cycle up. I actually started today, so got back in the blender. My head hurt, but we gonna make it work. I'm gonna try to figure out how to rope it into VR, hopefully. But yeah, a lot of content coming for the animation stuff. I'm taking a little bit of a break from the VR stuff just because I've been pushing. So I'm going back in the office now, so I got to slow that down.
Yeah,
might be like a video a week here and there, but.
Number one video a week. That's perfectly fine output.
Yeah.
All right, Clay, where can we find you? What are you working on?
Hey,
right now?
call me Clay on pretty much all platforms, primarily on Twitch, and then we'll be boosting up the YouTube presence. So find me there. I rant a lot about VR on Twitter. So if you want more of the text rants, then find me on Twitter as well. I do a lot of VR streaming, and we're boosting up the YouTube soon. So, Mike, don't make that face. I'm getting there. We'll be doing more. I don't do as much. I don't do as much as you.
Do a lot, right?
But I enjoy the VR streaming piece of it. So Twitch is my baby right now. So come and hang out and engage. We have a lot of good times. Mike's usually there trolling me, so find me on Twitch.
Just keep holding you accountable is what I call
That's
it.
fine. That's fine.
Holding you accountable. Jay, where can we find you?
Yes, you can find me on Getting Things Done YouTube channel with my lovely wife Joy Rain. You can also check out all of my rants and not bananas on on all the social medias at JDunRRP. You can find me on the Get Into the Metaverse podcast with me and my wife as well, and of course the Melanated Virtual Boys right here.
Is that the name? Is that what
No, it's not. It's not. Please don't let this be the name.
I just
think it's the most.
I'm gonna flash it in big words on the screen every time you say it.
Melanated Virtual Boys. But no, I'm just enjoying it, man, and just happy to be here with you guys, man. But yeah, that's what you can find all of JDun at. So.
Yeah.
All right,
Sho Futuristic will be back on YouTube soon. Actually, this week. Back on YouTube. But that's it. Sho Futuristic on all the platforms. That's it.
Okay. Before I shout myself out, I'm going to shout out someone who is not here, but the man is doing big things. Our guy, Tech Man. This man has been in meta trailers. Was that Connect's been in Lego video? Like, man, doing the thing, and I'm proud of him. XR Rob, another one.
TwitchCon too.
Yeah,
he was on
he was at TwitchCon
on the stage.
Dope, man.
XR Rob, another one. Like, I love what I'm just gonna call a spade here, and then I'll wrap it up here. I love that Meta is starting to put more diversity into the creators that they're paying attention to.
Absolutely.
That's not just people of color; that's also females.
Yes.
absolutely.
Jay, your wife was there. Wendy, she plays VR. They're pulling Instagram influencers.
Yep.
Like, I love seeing Jasmine. Jasmine been in the game for a while.
Shout out to Jasmine.
Yeah.
But I love seeing that they're really branching out and pulling different people, and I love it. It grows the space because now there's a kid who's gonna see Tech Man in a commercial and go,
That's it.
That's the reason why we do it.
he looks
man.
like me.
That's the reason why
Just
we
like we did when we were kids. We saw stuff like all the black sitcoms growing up, Living Single, Family Matters, all that stuff. Like, that's important. So it's really important to see that. So shout out to Tech, man. Hope to get him on sometime.
Absolutely.
As for me, I'm live open mic on all platforms. You're watching this on YouTube, so obviously you found it here. I'm also on Twitch, on Twitter /X, LinkedIn, all that stuff. So I do different content on different things. YouTube is a bit more serious. Twitch, Clay's been in my streams. They're a clown show. They're an absolute clown show. I just have a ball there. Because I think more important, I think more than anything, this is supposed to be fun.
Absolutely.
I think sometimes we take stuff too
Facts.
seriously, and this
Yep.
this why I love Jay's content, because it's just fun. It's just he and his wife are just having fun with this technology.
Absolutely, man.
Big shout out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
love
can
that.
get,
Definitely.
when you get bogged down in PPDs and IPDs and FOVs and yada yada
Yeah.
yada and all this technology. At the same point, I'm like, are you still having fun playing this?
I agree.
Or
I
is it
agree.
just out of habit now that you just boot this thing up every day?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, so. All right, but that is enough for the melanated virtual boys.
the melanated virtual boy?
I love it. I love it, man.
We hope to do this again. So if you like this, let us know down in the comments. This will be posted in some part on all of our channels. It will be primarily on mine because I'm the one recording. But all these guys will get a piece of this. We'll get the full content. They'll get the full recording. So they're free to do whatever they want with it. So be sure to comment anywhere you see any of this stuff posted. Please let us know if you enjoy it. Stuff you like to see different. We would love to do this on a regular basis. So we need your feedback. It's going to be really important. Everybody, thanks for watching. Take care.
Peace.
Deuces. Okay, I don't know what's going on with my camera.
Yeah.
I need to fix this.